5. Course correct. It's easy to get sidetracked, and it's even easier to be moving so quickly in a direction that you don't realize it's the wrong direction. I recommend a check-in with yourself every Sunday. Sunday is the easiest time for me because it's when I plan out my week. I take the time to focus in on the outcome I want for the week and then ask myself if I'm really, truly headed in the direction of the next mile marker. If so, great. If not, what can I do this week to ensure that I get the results I'm looking for? When it comes to efficiency, the bottom line is this. You're already doing the work. You're already putting in the time, and it would be such a waste if you were depleting your energy for no reason, or worse, potentially giving up on a great idea simply because you haven't figured out how to make greater strides toward your goal. Do an efficiency audit and figure out where you need to tighten up and shift your focus. Skill 5. Positivity. I once lived through 52 hours of labor. 50 freaking 2 hours. I will never let my firstborn forget about this as long as I live. In fact, even after I'm gone, I'm planning to arrange it so someone sends him an occasional reminder of this fact, like those men who pay a florist to deliver flowers every year on their wife's birthday after they're dead. Anyway, it was the worst. It was so hard and exhausting and painful, and the nurses only let me have popsicles or Jell-O or chicken broth during the labor. It took forever to get to the time to push. Anyone who has lived through a similar experience will vouch for me. You wait and wait and wait, and just when it seems like you'll probably just stay pregnant forever, they announce that it's time to push. Time to push. For me, the time to push came so much later than anticipated that the epidural had started to wear off. Yes, epidural. You didn't think I went through 2 days of labor without drugs, did you? No, I am not that heroic. I utilized the anesthesiologist who, just so we're clear, did look like Danny DeVito, as they should, and all the good drugs they wanted to offer me. But by go time, the pain was creeping back in. The nurses asked me if I wanted another dose, but I had read all kinds of horror stories about women who couldn't push because the meds were too strong, and I didn't want anything to slow us down further. So, like a true and proper martyr, I bravely told them I would push Jackson out without drugs. Almost immediately, I knew I had made a grave mistake. The pain was bad enough just lying there, but when I actually tried to push for the first time, it felt like Satan had stuck a flaming pitchfork right up inside me and then given it a quarter turn to the right. JK, I told everyone in the room, I do in fact want those drugs just as fast as the IVs can carry them into my spinal column. The nurse pressed a button. The staff made some calls. They whispered amongst themselves, and then they looked at me with sad eyes. We're so sorry. Both of our anesthesiologists are in C-sections. There's no one available to administer another dose. What? No more drugs? No more numbing? Just me and Satan's pitchfork? My heart broke right along with my perineum. I was in so much pain, and I was so exhausted that I felt kind of delusional. I had no control over what was happening to me and had no way to escape it. It felt like no matter how many times I pushed, Jackson wouldn't come out. His heart rate began to drop, and the doctors started talking about there being too much stress on him and how maybe we'd have to do a C-section. Oddly, in the midst of utter panic, I had the greatest moment of clarity of my life. I knew I had to get Jackson out safely and calmly, and in order to do that, I had to find a way to rise above the pain. I went from crying and freaking out to silent and focused. I didn't speak to Dave or my mom or the nurses or the doctors. I don't think I made another sound or even looked in anyone's direction. I was deeply inside my head, caught somewhere between fervent prayer and an internal motivational speech to my unborn child.